Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will
Hi.
wait for a couple of minutes
Hi.
for everybody to join, up to 5 minutes. Nice to see you, Silvina, finally.
Hey, hello. How you doing there?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Great, great. Just
I
a
heard
little
so
bit
much.
cold.
I heard so much about you from Kate. I'm really happy to finally see you and meet you.
Yeah. Me too. It's a pleasure for me.
Hi,
Hello, Sam.
Silvina. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Okay,
Um,
greetings from Argentina.
Greeting from Egypt.
Oh, there. Oh my God, we are too far away.
Yeah.
Okay, how's everything there? You're in London,
Um,
right, Paulina? Oh, in Egypt. How is
yeah,
everything?
I am in London. Yeah, Sam.
You're in London too.
No, I'm in Egypt right now.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Which part?
Alexandria.
Alexandria.
So on
Okay,
the mid
nice name.
on the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah.
Okay, nice view.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a teacher too?
Yeah, I am a teacher. Yeah, I've been teaching since 2009.
Okay. Me a little bit longer, but well. 25 years teaching English in
That's
Argentina.
impressive.
That's nice.
That's a lot.
So where in Argentina?
Buenos Aires, the capital.
Yeah.
Okay, and I teach remotely mainly to adult IT companies, especially. So I have an interesting range of students, different profiles, developers, testers. I mean, everything that has to do with IT. So they really need English to communicate with their clients. So the idea is to prepare them as much as I can and develop strategies to communicate effectively.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's a perfect sphere to be focusing on right now, I think, especially for a teacher.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very interesting group of students, okay, because they have special needs, I would say again, especially in terms of speaking, listening, a little bit of grammar. They just want to focus on their pronunciation and their accent. And I say, well, but we are not native speakers, okay? So we try, the objective has to become effective communicators so you can communicate, understand, I don't know, paraphrase what you're trying to say, asking for clarification. So I find all these lessons about functions in English very useful because
Yeah.
this is what they need, okay? And so well, they are ready to, to start using. Have already started using the platform, but well, they like it very much.
Yeah. Yeah. Larissa, how are you?
Hello, I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Sorry for being late.
No, we haven't
Okay.
started.
Hello
No.
there.
Everybody's usually just a little bit late. That's fine. Up to
Okay.
5-10 minutes, and then sometimes people
I just finished my lunch.
yeah, sometimes people confuse the time zones, and I get texts when we already finished, and people are like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
can't join." I'm like, well, "I'm sorry, it's already
Yeah, that's the
over."
problem.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Kay.
Hi. Happy to see you all. Happy to see you, Silvina.
Happy
This
to
is your
see you
very
too,
first
Kay.
mastermind. I hope you will like it.
Okay, yeah. I will be able to join only for 1 hour because then I have classes, but well, I will
It's
try
fine.
to, okay, I'll do my best to say as much as long as I can. Okay, how's everything there in London? Is it really hot, right? Weather?
Yes, it's plus 30. It's crazy. Yeah.
Here we have a severe winter, so it's like
Oh.
time is changing. Yeah, the climate is changing fast. Yes, but well, it's okay. So well, nice to see you, everybody. Okay. Oh, what happened? You're sharing. Okay. Sorry, I'm not used to Zoom because I use Meet,
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I use Google Meet also.
Yeah.
I'm just
Zoom is a bit confusing to me.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so apparently you have only 45 minutes for free. Then you have to pay.
Yeah, well, I have a
Okay.
premium account on Google Meet.
Yeah,
but
me too.
yeah,
Mhm.
Google. I could have had the account on Zoom, but I preferred Google Meet is much more convenient,
It's
easier.
user friendly. Yeah, it's easier.
Yeah, very user friendly. Yeah, very user friendly.
Okay, I think we can start discussing the questions.
Yeah.
I mean, some people will join in late, but we can start, I think.
Okay.
So, Osama, over to you.
Yeah, okay. First of all, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Katrina, for attending. Thank you, Polina, for inviting me. Larissa, thank you for attending. Nice to meet you, Silvina, and everyone else. Mary, Natalia, thank you all for attending. Happy to see you all. I'd like to ask you first, have you ever participated? I know Polina and Katrina did. Have you participated in masterminds before? And
No,
Maria
this is
also, I think, did. Yeah, first time for Sabina.
first time, yeah.
I'm first time too.
For me,
First
the
time.
same. First time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mary?
Interesting.
It's the second time, but I'm sorry that I'm without the camera in the middle of something, and it's just too much going on. So yeah, it's the second time, and I'm really happy to see gamification just on the agenda. So it's like really highly beneficial for everyone to think of some gamification elements in the structure.
Yeah. So we will be going through all the questions, and I would like first to discuss briefly what a mastermind is. Mastermind basically is a group of similar, like-minded professionals attending together, discussing ideas, brainstorming ideas, and this helps generate new ideas, generate innovative, creative, out-of-the-box ideas. So that's hopefully what we'll be doing. Brainstorming, basically, which is a very important concept in mastermind, is spontaneous contribution of ideas and solutions. So the idea is to be spontaneous, whatever comes to your mind. I have actually a pen and I have a paper to write down whatever comes to my mind in every question. So if you if you can do the same, this will be great. Or you can just share whatever comes to your mind and discuss it. And this is how creativity and being spontaneous generates ideas. So anyway, I'm not very good at giving good long start. So I want to start by the first question: gamification and interactive elements. So I would like to start, whoever wants to share first regarding this. I would like to discuss or share my opinion later on. Would like to go first? Silvina, maybe you can start. What do you think about gamification, interactive elements?
Oh, it's I would say for teaching professionals, it's, I would say, mandatory. I mean, they come from having long meetings, difficult days, dealing with different issues with projects and deadlines. So whenever you open a lesson with a game, just with an objective, of course, I believe the teacher has to have a clear objective of the game, but they love it. It's really important for them to trigger conversation, to review grammar issues, to deal with I don't know, their own opinions, to teach them how to give opinions, start a debate, and they love it. I mean, they absolutely love it. In fact, I had last week I had a session of one-on-ones with my students where we were evaluating the outcomes of the classes so far, and they really highlighted the importance of doing not every single class, because you need to change. It's like they get bored very easily too. So, but they really appreciated the time I spent preparing some kind of game or with interactive elements and moving from one platform to the other. And I mean, I use, for example, Bamboozle. Okay, so it's a really nice platform. last year I used Kahoot, but well, it didn't, I mean, meet my expectations. So we now have a paid version of Bamboozle, and I prepare games, and they really enjoy it. For me, it's really a very good way to warm things up. So especially for these type of professionals who are like, they have other things to do. Okay, so they enjoy the class, they learn something, and besides that, they have fun. So for me, it's really important.
Yeah, thank you. Larissa, how do you go about gamification, interactive elements in your classes? Would you like to share with us?
Hello, hello. Yes, I like to use interactive elements in my classes. I try to do in the Amazy platform interactive exercises. Also use other websites in my Spanish lessons.
Yeah.
So I think it helps a lot when you play, when you match, when you do something.
Yes.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted actually to say that Amazy is perfect for that. Amazy is very interactive.
Yeah.
The matching activities, gap activities can be a kind of games, and students like this, even if it's the same thing that they discuss. But if you put it on Amazy on
yeah, exactly.
kind of this, yeah, so they like it even more. So
in Quizlet, there are also some games with
yes.
to play with. First, you learn these new words in the cards, but then you can match them, then you can play them. Then there are some planets, some asteroids, and you play with this new vocabulary. It's very interesting and useful.
Yeah, what I normally do is I try to attach a link, if that's the technical word, to a lesson that I create on the platform, and so they have a link there, and they, what they consider really important, from Amazy, is the recording feature.
Yeah.
When they hate listening to themselves, but then they say this is such a good activity. Okay, so that is very good. Okay, because otherwise they don't listen to their own voices. Okay, and say this is the way you sound in English. Okay, and say, oh, I hate it, but it's okay. All right, so let's focus on precision, vocabulary. Quizlet too is very good. Yes, I have used it.
Yeah.
But it's like a little bit. It's getting. It should have some other features for me. This is my personal opinion, okay? But
Yeah,
I have
thank
used it
you.
a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting that your students like recording voices, because many of my students don't like it. They say I don't like.
I said, well, we have to do it. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, this is a must, and but then realize the importance. Okay, but this is the way they sound, so
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So Natalia, would you like to share with us gaming interactive elements class?
Yeah, I totally agree that that's a mandatory for modern teacher to use gamification and interactive elements. I also use the platforms you've just mentioned, like Kahoot and Quizlet and so on. And I also use Google Jamboard and presentations, and also a platform WiserMe that also allows to record the voice. Yeah, and I'm trying to introduce Amazy. Yeah, and I think that's also a great platform that as if combines different features.
Yeah.
To offer students.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the interesting things about teaching online is that you can be very the class can be very interactive. So when I started teaching online, I thought that offline courses are much better because you can see the students and you can interact with them. But now I think online teaching is way more interactive, because you have a lot of something like Amazy or Quizlet. All of these websites can help you do the activities and all the discussions much better than a textbook that they have.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So
Thank you.
this is
I don't know what to do with real students now. I am teaching online for years.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
some of my friends, for example, when they come, they say, Larissa, can you help my daughter? And like, okay, we open student book and that's all. Nothing
Yeah,
else.
I was asked actually recently. I was asked recently to give an offline course, and then I told him, okay, you have to bring your laptops with you because we will do the activity. We will do it online.
Online, I am a master, yeah, but offline, what to do with you?
Yeah.
it's a pity though, for publishing houses. I used to work for Pearson Longman, and I know that how difficult it is to write a book. I met several writers, but now everything is digital. So well, they need to adapt.
Yeah, this is why I believe platforms like Amazy can be really the
Yeah.
future of online material, the future of resources and teaching and so on.
Mm-hmm. And also, sorry to say this, but
Yes.
something that just comes to my mind is the use of AI. Okay, ChatGPT in classes, how they can use without, I mean, to avoid cheating. Okay, but because but I say, okay, you can have examples, you can check your grammar, so you can learn as well. Okay, but for developing or planning classes, they are for the moment still a disaster. They cannot do what we can do based on our experience. But it's another trend now that we have to adapt, because the future is now.
Yeah. Mary, would you like to share something?
Yeah, like now, fortunately, a lot of cool, let's say, applications for gamifications have to be paid somehow, you know, using these trickiest ways of just asking your friends in abroad to pay for that. But yeah, like quizzes and, for example, Kahoot, they are banned in Russia, but you can always ask your friends and use VPN. So we kind of figure out the ways to do that, but definitely, and by the way, quizzes also use AI nowadays, ChatGPT, so they can kind of like transform the text into some interesting text. So of course, like technically, that's a main technological breakthrough nowadays, and a lot of companies they understand that they would rather adapt than die, literally. So yeah, I totally agree that publishing houses have real competition nowadays for sure. And by the way, I have a studio actually contact plagiarized content or whether it is authentic or not. So they use some kind of like AI detectors. Unfortunately, I didn't remember, but I'm gonna find what kind of like applications do that. And the funniest thing, guys, you won't believe that now there are some kind of applications that are how can I just formulate it? So they kind of like try to are kind of transform generated content and make it look like it's not AI. So it's just like AI that pretends not to be AI. So literally, like these applications, they reformulate the words, or let's say paraphrasing some stuff to increase the level of authenticity.
Yeah.
And this is the future of so we need generally, and then we choose. Sometimes some company want to see like the authenticity, or in just like the text or something like that. And of course, there are a lot of applications that So it's a big debate. It's a big debate. Some people are in favor of that, people are not. But of course, if we are just the right prompts and it's like from really good intentions, we can make it work, in my opinion.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary.
You know how to do.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. For some reason, your voice lags sometimes. I don't know if it's just me or everyone.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. something with my
Oh.
headphones, I guess.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, no worries. So let's move to the next. Polina, I'm sure you have something to say before we move to the next point.
Yeah, I mean, if we're doing honorary mentions of platforms that have great games and that allow you to create great games, Genially is the one that is like all the rage, I think now.
Yeah.
I have added links to like Genially games in some of my lessons as well, so it's a great thing to study everything in Amazy, and then at the end of the lesson you can like go to Genially and play a board game, for example. So you can create board games there where you drag like not tokens but like figurines from square to square. It's fun. It's fun. You can roll the dice there. I think in the future we will have that on Amazy as well, but for now.
Can you share the link here in chat? Paulina, can you share the link, please?
Oh, I will. I will post everything here as usual, and I will also add links to these different websites.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So next point, what teacher instruments and sources are better to use with students? Homework for adult basic students. Okay. So first, there are two questions. First one, instruments and sources better to use with students. I would say that it's better not to have a lot of resources because this can be very confusing. It's better to depend on maybe 1, 2, or 3 sources that you always go to, and I do that. Some of the website I really like is englishclub.com. I was introduced to it when I took my TEFL degree in Manchester. The tutor introduced it to us, and I've been using it since then. Test English is also, I knew about it from discussion.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I normally go to these two, but yeah. Polina?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's very important not to use too many things because they overwhelm not just the student, but the teacher as well. This is started amazing in the first place. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. It's very important just to stick to 2 or 3. Sometimes I go to other things. If I search for something and I can't find it in the websites or the resources that I always use. But other than that, I just stick to 1 or 2 resources. Who would like to share something here? Anyone? Ekaterina, would you like to share something?
For this one, I think, yes, I totally agree with everyone that you should stick to 1 or maximum 2 resources, because yes, it confuses everyone, not only your students, but also you. Yeah, and as for the homework, I know that a lot of people who are professionals who work a lot, they basically don't have time to complete home tasks, and I am one of them because I'm learning Chinese. I never do my homework. It's awful. I know I'm an awful student. Forgive me, Lord. Yeah, but in this case, I would say what can work with such students is to give them maximum activities at the, during the lesson, because you need to make them speak, you need to make them think, and you need to make them 100% active at the lesson so that they could reflect and maybe revise something at home, which actually doesn't require them a lot of time and effort. Yeah. And in this case, again, such platforms as Amazy, I mean, the platforms that allow you to have this access to all the materials and resources of the classes are perfect, because it means that anytime your students, when they are driving to work or when they are going to work by taxi, when they are in the middle of traffic, they can open this resource and they can revise it. Otherwise, it should be something that is connected to their current agenda at work, for example. When we're talking about media resources like this big news about Silicon Valley Bank crashes or anything like that, because they're going to discuss it with their colleagues anyway, with their friends, and these resources will help them to gain new vocabulary, new ideas, and it will be about more about like reflection in the future, because if this new news surrounds you, you will get back in your mind at least, and you will think about this vocabulary, you will remember this article that you talked about with your teacher. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Something relevant could be helpful here.
Yeah. It was very useful for me last week, you know, with this submersible that was missing, and then we know that it's imploded. And so well, they were really interested into having a conversation about that. And as you said, Kate, it's something that breaking news is a very good way to start the lesson as well. Okay,
Yeah.
so they keep on talking about the topic, their families or their workmates. So it's a good way to introduce. I don't know. I introduce different phrasal verbs with think. I don't know. Different things. No, so that was the trigger. But then I opened to different areas: speaking, listening, writing, giving opinions. So it's really, really important, okay, to teach with authentic material, right?
Yes, that's true. Actually, when you search for current news or authentic material, you don't, in my opinion, you shouldn't need to stick to one or two or three websites, because you search online for what's new and what happens. Yeah. But I was talking, of course, about things that you can go back if you want some grammar or activities and so on. Josephine, hello. Josephina, how are you?
Please call me Coti. Coti. Yes.
Goti.
No, my name is Josefina, but everybody talks to me like Coti.
Coti.
Okay.
I texted to you.
Coti, yeah, where are you from? Sorry. I think you are from Argentina.
You are from Argentina too.
Hey,
Yeah.
hello.
Hola, señoritas.
Okay, we have three Spanish speaking.
Maybe next time we will need to speak Spanish next mastermind.
Yes.
That will be good. Muy bien.
Perfecto.
Coti, right, with a K.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. So Coti, would you like to share with us what you think about the second question? What teacher and instruments and sources are better to use with students?
I already arrived here, so I didn't hear the
yeah, you know, masterminds really is just about what comes to your minds. Just you can share whatever comes to your mind in this question. That's what we are doing. Maybe we can have some creative ideas. Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear the question.
All right, the second, B.
B.
Yeah. Teacher and instrument sources.
I'm not a teacher, so I'm more hearing about targets.
Yeah.
Today with Paulina, we were talking about that.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes, Coti will probably just listen today and hear everybody's ideas.
All right. Okay, great. Anyway, good to have you. And if you'd like to share any idea, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Do. Natalia, you have something to share?
I think that for teenagers, one or two platforms is not enough, because they like a variety and they are really good in using different technologies. As to adults, yeah, maybe one or two platforms, but not for teenagers, judging from my experience. And as to platforms, instruments, and sources, again, for a warm-up activity, for example, it's better to use one platform. For reflection, another one. Yeah, so I think that's different. And homeworks for adults, it depends. When I attend courses, I do all the homework, and I love doing that because it helps remembering, revising the material. Maybe homeworks should be there.
Yeah, one thing I can share about homeworks is that busy students, or people are busy, normally don't have time for homework, and they have a kind of impression about it that it's something boring, something that they don't want to do. So sometimes with one of my students, we read a whole book together, and every time I ask him, we agree that we're going to read certain chapters, 2 or 3 chapters, and then next lesson we discuss it. And we have casual discussion about it. Like, we're discussing, what do you think about what happened? What do you think is going to happen next? And so on. And we finished the whole book in this way. And some other students like to watch videos. So they can just watch a video and then we discuss it together in the following lesson. So you can tailor the homework if the student is really busy. You can see what they are interested in, what they can they can do in their free time. That is connected to English, and you can do it with them. So that's what I do, because just giving them exercise activities and they, you know, that they're not going to do it is pointless.
Or you can assign, you mentioned the platform Test English.
Yeah.
And so it's a very friendly user platform if you use it with your cell phone, okay? So I assign some activities to different students, okay, based on, because they have, for example, let's say difference between present perfect and simple past. So you can say, well, you have 4 activities, so you can assign via WhatsApp or whatever link, okay? And they can do that in the blink of an eye. Okay, they said it's 5 minutes, but these 5 minutes is where you are focusing, paying attention while you're waiting for the doctor's appointment at the dentist. Okay, so because otherwise they won't do that. They are super busy. Okay, so they rather watch TV or play video games than do an activity. But with Test English, okay, and I put the link here on the platform, and I say you go here, you Santiago, Mariano, okay, they have different exercises, and then we share, okay, the results. So I think that is something easy to do.
Yeah. Koti, you wanted to say something?
That's a good topic. TV shows.
Yeah.
Because I used to, with my teacher, I used to read books. I love that because we were talking about that the whole class almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now the topic is different. I think series and cinema, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like everyday topic.
You can see how relevant the topic is, because we have so many lessons based on TV series in the community section of Amazy, like a lot. Teachers are making them for the students and sharing in the community, and we see how many times other teachers save or buy these lessons. So that's really something that is really relevant.
Yeah, there is an extension in Google Chrome that you can download. I haven't done it yet, but it's called Teaching with Netflix. And so it's good. You can download the script of the series. You can pause and you can see the vocabulary there. So, well, it's amazing. If you have a Netflix account, it's fantastic. So, yeah, but it's the topic of the day.
Yeah. Michael Kelly, how are you? Hello. Hi. Thanks for joining. Would you like to share with us what you think about question B? Okay, maybe later, whenever you're available. All right. Okay. So any other thoughts about second question before we move on? Okay, next, how do you come up with ideas and topics for your lessons, and how are you so consistent with them? Do you have any routine planned around them? I think this question is directed to me, so I have to answer first.
That was for you, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do it first, and then I would like, of course, to hear your opinions about it. So first, we have 3 questions. How I come up with ideas and topics for my lessons. Really, I actually don't find any difficulty in that. You just need to I teach 3 speaking clubs, and one of the things I learned from teaching speaking clubs is listening. Effective listening. So I listen to my students all the time, and sometimes I stay silent for a long time if they're engaged in speaking, and I listen to them, and I take notes sometimes of interesting ideas. And many of my lessons that I created were inspired from things that students said. So I think this is something extremely important and also very relevant to students, because that's what students want and that's what they say. I ask for their opinions, of course, what they think, what they would like to talk about, and so on. But there are a lot of things between the lines. You can, and there are many things, interesting discussions that we have that make me think of why not create a lesson about this speaking club or a lesson and add some grammar to it. And so one thing is ideas from students, and second, Source is articles. I like reading generally, and even if you're not interested in reading, you can subscribe to any article, any website that sends you weekly articles, and you will, if any of the titles is interesting, you can just open the article and read it, and it might be good enough for a lesson. So I do that sometimes. There's a website that it's called Get Pocket. I think Get Pocket or something like that. It sends me articles about relevant, about very, contemporary, current news, and I took many articles from it, and Forbes magazine.
Sorry, Osama, to interrupt you, but what is the name of this website?
Yeah, I'll write it in the chats.
I'm
not sure.
Okay. Pocket.com.
Yeah, Pocket.
Yes, yes. I remember this website. Yeah, Pocket.
That's Pocket.com.
I have to go back to it. Yeah.
We will add all the links to this notes after the meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Paulina.
To your email that you used for signing up, you will receive the link to this, and it will also be in the community, so all the links will be there.
Okay, thank you very much.
So yeah, these are the two main ideas from students, and articles and things that I read, maybe books that I read, something that I'm interested in, something that I'm reading about these days. I just create a lesson about it and share it with my students. So I take it as something that can also enrich my my knowledge about it when I discuss it with many people, whether it's speaking club or even a lesson. And maybe I can give quick examples. Like I had a discussion before with one of my students who is B2B manager in a big company, and she said that her manager, she feels that somehow kind of unfair criticism from her manager. So I thought actually, and we had a quick discussion about it, and I thought, why not create a lesson about criticism, how to deal with criticism? This will help managers and even the average person to deal with it. And I put some steps and we discussed them, and maybe I can add some grammar to it. And I found very good articles, and I created a lesson about it. Another idea is I created a lesson about lions after having a chat with one of my students about wild animals, and whether lions are afraid of humans as well, or only humans are afraid of lions. And I was interested to search about this, and then I thought, why not create a lesson about it? So yeah, that's the first part. Second part, how are you consistent with them? That's a very good question, and I think consistency is a key to succeed in anything. So in order to do things really well, you have to be consistent. And maybe I can think about the same way that you're consistent with your students in your classes. So every time in your class, you show up at the same time. So this is consistency. So the same thing with lesson creation. You can think about, okay, I want to create 1 or 2 lessons at least a week. And added to that, this is how the business model of Amazy works. The business model of Amazy is paid subscriptions for teachers who post lessons regularly, and no one will subscribe to your channel or to your page if you don't have regular content. If you post every an irregular pattern, then no one will be interested to. So this is how actually the business works. So consistency is really important, and it's easy, and we already do it in our lessons. So you can just think about how many lessons you can do every week and set a goal for that. And that's how you can be consistent. Do you have any routine planned around them? Well, if you're consistent, then you have to do it. So you have to give it some time. You have to give it specific time in your schedule. So one thing I do is between the lessons, I've actually remember in one of the teachers' meeting, we had a discussion, what do we do between the lessons? So I have an hour or half an hour free. What do you normally do? And maybe, if you commit yourself to creating 1 or 2 lessons a week, then you will be finishing this half an hour, this 1 hour, 1.5 hours, you'll finish something in the lesson. And after 2 or 3 days, you'll have a lesson ready. So this is how you can create a lesson, a routine around it. And during your working hours, if you know that you work, for example, as a teacher, you normally work from 10 to 5 maybe, and you have 3-4 lessons. So I think you'll have 3 or 4 hours that are free. You can have 1 hour to prepare if you want. And actually, lesson creation is a kind of preparation. So I think you can have 2 or 3 hours every day to create lessons. So at the end of the week, you can create 2 or 3 lessons. So that's how I think of it. Sorry for being too long, but I wanted to be as share whatever I can to help maybe answer this question effectively. Who would like to discuss something also about this? Please, Josephina.
How long does it take you to
on average, to prepare a lesson on Amazy? I would say it really takes a long time, but
yes,
the more you do it, just like everything else, the more you do it, the less time you spend doing it. So this is, your brain is used to doing things. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
Yeah. You get used to it. You do it faster, just like reading. When you read a book now, I'm kind of fast reader because I've been reading for a long time, and I never learned how to read fast, but this is just how it happens. So I create lessons relatively faster than in the past, but it still takes a long time. But at the same time, I think of it as a kind of investment in a way. So even if the lesson is free, it's also investment for me because I use it in 2 or 3 or 4 classes. So I've already prepared, what I want for these classes.
And
if you put it for freemium, then it's definitely an investment.
Do you have like a template you use? No, every lesson you change the format.
To be honest, I actually do it the difficult way. I try to be very creative every single time. I try to think of, I try to also think about all the details. I try even to change not the same structure and the same format every single time. But this is up to the teacher. You can have a, but I like to pay attention to details. I like to organize, spend a long time organizing things and thinking about the logical sequence, what to do first and the next, what to do next. I even sometimes teach the lesson 1 or 2 times before posting it to make sure that everything is okay, practically okay. So, but it's okay. I am okay with that. This takes a long time, but for some teachers, they might focus on other things. But yeah, I won't say that it's something easy, and it's not. But again, difficult things and challenging things are, give you an advantage because the barriers to entry are high. So when you do it, not a lot of people can do the same. So if you spend some time and effort in doing something difficult, you get something good in the end. It's a very rewarding thing to do something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So especially now, we were talking about the trend of getting rid of books and moving to platforms. So when you create good lessons, this is, I think, is very, very rewarding. Yeah. Sorry again for taking too long.
That's very interesting.
May I say something?
Yeah, please.
So you mentioned a very important thing about planning. Just like when you plan for lessons and you probably have them in your calendar somewhere, it's important to also add the lesson creation to your calendar, because if you don't and you think, well, I will have probably like 30 minutes sometime, you might not do it. You might not spend that time on creating a lesson. So I think it's a good idea to add it to your calendar and like this will help you with consistency very much.
Definitely. Sorry, I didn't see the raised hand because I'm still I'm not very familiar with Zoom, so.
Right. It's also my job to monitor everything.
Yeah.
Katrina also has something to say.
Katrina, yeah, please.
Yes. Thank you very much, Osama. First of all, thank you very much for sharing such insightful things. And I'm just watching your progress and I'm super impressed. You are my star. I just wanted to let you know, guys, because maybe you are not familiar with Osama's success, but he's one of the top content creators on Amazy, and he's one of the top creators who sells his content. As the platform is quite new and we don't have a lot of people like Osama, but Osama is really one of the most successful content creators on Amazy who manages to sell his content. And this is, I think, also not only because he creates really interesting content, but also because he's really focused on that. He just keeps doing it no matter what. And I know how difficult and challenging it is to continue doing what you actually do when there is maybe the progress is not as fast as you would like to have it. But what I want to share with you guys, any big project, any meaningful project requires a lot of time, energy, and like investment. Because even if we're talking about Amazy, the platform itself, it took me and the team more than 4 years to come here, like to this point at this. And it's not perfect. We always say we're only starting now, because it takes you time to finally realize what actually you are doing, what you are building, what kind of product you are building. Because at the very beginning you are testing a lot of things and you're trying to find this product market fit, your favorite business model, whatever. Then it takes you a lot of time to build the product inside, then the front end of development, and it takes like really a lot of resources. The same is with lessons, but the more you create it, the better you can do it. And basically it's all about experience. After some time it gives you more and more rewards, like money, connections, and a lot of people who really trust you, your audience. And the community is the power that you even cannot really understand how powerful it is. We always underestimate it, but it always works on you in the most like crucial situations. It really helps you a lot from the emotional point of view, from the financial point of view, from any point of view. So building your community, creating content is a very nice investment, but it's challenging, of course, like any other investment. Yeah. And if we're talking about ideas for topics, I think that teachers need to choose topics that you love and you are interested in yourself. Yeah. Because being a teacher, it means you need to understand a lot of different fields, especially when you work with professionals, because some of your students are managers, the others are designers, directors, whatever, people from art industry, medical people, like every field. So basically, yeah, you just need to stick to the audience you love. I mean, to the field you love or fields you really are interested in. Yeah. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katrina. I want to add something that, yeah, you said it's difficult and challenging, but it's also very interesting thing to do, because, you know, when I create the lesson and when I think about the questions, I think like, yeah, I'm going to discuss this with my students and it's going to be very interesting. I want to hear what people have to say here. Sometimes I actually put questions. I don't depend much on AI to generate the questions. I like to tailor them. It takes time, but I like to think about how things will go in class and, you know, what's going to happen, what conversations are going to, you know, arise and so on. Okay, I have a question from Michael. Subscription versus one-off lesson price, which is better? And how do you set the price for lessons? Criteria based, you base the price on. I'll try to do it quickly because I spent a lot of time really on this one and I didn't give a chance to everyone to speak. So I think subscription, of course, is definitely better because this is, you know, this is how you can ensure long-term, you know, income. But this requires you to work hard on being consistent and meet the expectations of your subscribers. And this is, I think, a very, very successful business model that for the teacher and for also for the teacher who's selling and for also the teacher who's buying, because he's expecting lessons all the time, and the teacher who's selling expecting a certain income. So how do you set the price of a lesson? I'm still trying, really. The first lesson I put a price for was £1, one English pound. So I was just trying. And then speaking clubs, all of my speaking clubs, I think I have 2 or 3 premium speaking clubs. I put £2 because I don't know, some teachers just like to speak in the speaking club not use the lessons. So I don't think they will pay a lot of money for lesson for a speaking lesson. Other lessons, business, English, for example, maybe I set a higher price. I'm normally, my attitude, and people can be different here, but what I normally do is that I look at the average and I try to be around the average. I don't like to set very high prices because, at least in the beginning, but some other teachers or some other people can have, you know, different approach to it. They might think, okay, I know I want my price, the price of my lessons to be the highest, but I normally look at the average and I set my price around it, average in the community. But again, people can be different.
I think we should also consider the demand. If the topic of the lesson is in high demand,
yeah,
it's really, like, you can set a high price. And if it's something really rare, again, that depends. If it's like highly professional ESP kind of thing, then again, you can set a higher price for that because there is not much content for that, and people who need it, they will be ready to pay a higher price for something that they need. But if we're talking about something niche and not really on demand, then it could be lower. But I think also you should consider how much time you spend on creating the lesson, how packed it is with information, with exercises, with texts, whether you used, just an article and some questions to it, or whether you spent a lot of time creating interactive exercises, coming up with unusual ideas, unconventional ways to introduce the topic, and all of these things should be considered as factors as to what price you set.
Yeah. Yeah, one more thing I was thinking about now is I actually most of the time think how much am I willing to pay for the lesson as a teacher? Am I willing to pay a high price for it? I try to put myself in the shoes of the buyer. So how much is he or she willing to pay? And this helps me set the correct price. Any thoughts here before we move on? Anyone? Okay, let's move on then. The next question: how do you promote your personal brand globally? I think I'm the last person to ask this question. I'm actually horrible in marketing and personal branding and all of these things. I don't do these things well. I just work hard, and that's it. And I think this is how I've been working since I started. I work really hard, and then I get a lot of good opportunities as students, word of mouth maybe, and appreciation, but I don't focus much on marketing because I know that I'm not good at it. So I would like you to answer this question, because I actually did a lot of talking in the previous one, so I'll let you speak here. And second, because I don't have anything to add here.
I can say something like what I usually do when I, for example, like advertise lessons, and I advertise lessons from the platform, not just my lessons as well, a lot. And well, you need to consider your target audience and where you can find your target audience. So if your lesson is for medical professionals, for example, find communities in Reddit, LinkedIn, Facebook, where teachers congregate around that topic, people who teach ESP courses, the people who teach for medical professionals and things like that, and you can publish your lessons there. That's one thing. So first of all, try to reach your audience, your customer, spread the word. So basically communities on LinkedIn, and I would say that LinkedIn is one of the most rewarding communities because the professionals there are highly invested in what they're doing. Facebook as well, Reddit, smaller conversion, but still a lot of people there are interested in ready-made lessons. So it's important to, on Reddit, it's really important to know the rules of every subreddit. It's for the United States, yes, Kate, specifically, but it's important to know the rules of the subreddits, because you can't always post links or, advertise yourself, and you can be banned for that, which happened to me once. But on LinkedIn and Facebook, again, just read the rules of communities and publish there. Another thing is you have to advertise yourself as a professional as well. So you have to have your profile on Amazy where you state what kind of professional you are, what kind of content you create, why you have expertise in that content. Same with LinkedIn, same with Facebook. So you have to have your professional profile with a professional photograph, with your background, with some information about you, and then just spread the word, reach your target audience, and advertise yourself. You can also publish some short articles, maybe answer comments. So if you see teachers asking questions about creating lessons, about teaching lessons, you can comment on those questions, share your expert opinion, share your expertise with them, and they will go to your profile and they will see what you do, and they will see that you also create lessons. And this way, there is a high chance that it will convert into purchases. So that's my take.
May I also
Thank you.
add something?
Thank you.
I think to gain trust in any community, because if you want to build your personal brand, if you want to become this global person recognizable for your achievements, you first need to gain some trust in any community. So before posting your lesson plans for sell it, or before posting anything promoting yourself, you need to gain some trust in this audience. So yes, as Polina mentioned, please give advice when somebody needs it, support people, share something for free, just something useful, something really meaningful for teachers, for this specific audience. Demonstrate that you are an expert that can help with some specific, very narrow knowledge that not everybody has.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry, to interrupt again, but I have to leave because I have a class right now at 10. Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm so sorry.
yeah,
I'm so
it's
sorry because this is so interesting. But well, I was
thank
only
you.
able to get 1 hour for free. You know.
It will be recorded, and you can watch it.
Okay,
And it was
definitely.
great to have you, and we hope to
Yeah,
see you in
thank
the
you very much
future.
for inviting me. I hope to join you next time. Okay.
Thank you, Selvina. Thank
Send all
you.
my love. Okay. Bye bye.
Besos. Bye bye.
Besos. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye. So, who would like to add something here? Mary, Natalia? Would you like to
Actually,
add?
nothing to add. Thank you, Polina, for the information.
Yeah.
I have nothing to.
Mary, would you like to share something?
Well, it's just depends again on the current needs of the students. If, let's say, they are talking about at some point, you understand that maybe we need to work more with building some dialogues, and then some idea can pop up in your mind, like how to deal with difficult people. So some survival expressions that can help you to deal with difficult people. And gradually you will build a lesson based on tips and tricks and strategies, how to resolve the conflict or things like that. I think it's like a very natural approach. So every teacher understands like some certain gaps and weaknesses that students have, and based on that, he builds a lesson. So, in my opinion, it always works.
Yeah.
We are right now talking also about how to build your personal brand globally, how to advertise yourself as a professional. Do you use any websites, or do you advertise yourself as a professional among other teachers on the global scale?
Oh, like it's a question to me. All right. So I'm just slowly kind of growing on that. I guess, yes, it's very, very important. And I bought already some equipment for YouTube Shorts and microphone and stuff. And now I understand that my headphones are not working properly. So yeah, like I think it needs some courage, but it's very necessary for teachers to advertise themselves on LinkedIn, on YouTube Shorts. I literally, like, this year, this is my #1 goal. And I think, yeah, we are promoting ourselves, we promote the community, we promote Amazy, we promote companies that contributed to our success. So it's very, very important for sure. yeah, like mostly a significant thing to do in just a very short time. Yeah, for sure.
Best of luck, Mary. Let's move to the next point.
Much.
My pleasure. Self-regulated learning. I have quite an answer to this one, but I'd like to hear your ideas first. What do you think about self-regulated learning, the best way to do that? And this is difficult for a lot of people. Okay, Larissa, would you like to share something?
I think Amazy is the best platform for self-regulated learning. Because now, for example, from what I see, when my students, they go for vacations, they can, I send them my next classes also, and they can self-study there. And I understand, right? It's self-regulated.
Yeah, it's ability to
You
understand.
check yourself, or you can read. You can
Set your
do it
goals. Yeah,
yourself.
self-monitor, self-instructions. Set your goals, achieve them, and so on. So.
Because my classes are not speaking classes, I have mostly level A1 and A2. They're in the lesson, in the class, there are rules, there are new vocabulary. Then self-studying, you can study this with me,
I think
or you can self-study.
Yeah, I think the question is about how you as a teacher, I think the E and F are somehow related. How you regulate, how you develop self by yourself, and then the next question is how to continue professional development. Polina, what do you think? I think the question here is about how you set your own learning environment so that you develop on your own.
That's a very, very important question, because that's also very closely related to student autonomy. And Amazy is very good for it, but you have to promote it and nurture it as a teacher in your students. You can use Amazy tools to do that. So, for example, at the end of the lesson, you can ask your students to reflect on what they learned, how they learned it, what obstacles they encountered on the way. And one thing that I recently did is my student wanted to spend more time on, learning everything, but we've done all the exercises. And what he requested, and I think it was ingenious, like, why did I never think of that before? We already covered the whole lesson, we finished it, but he still wanted to consolidate everything, to spend a bit more time on it. So what I did is I went to our copy of the lesson, I clicked edit, and I reset all the exercises. And at the weekend, he went to the lesson again and he did all the exercises again. And that was really interesting, because that let him see how much he has progressed. Because before he had like 5 mistakes here, 3 mistakes there, and so on. This time he managed to do it almost with no mistakes, already knowing what he was doing, already knowing all the vocabulary, but this time activating it one more time, consolidating it even further. It was really great. And I think it's a good idea to ask your students to do that. You've already done everything, reset all the answers, give them as a homework to do all the lesson again. It might be a bit boring, but if they are invested, that will work.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay. Ekaterina, I'm sure you have something to say here.
Yeah, like everywhere. So what I think is one of the solutions here, it can be this micro learning when you have only 10 or 15 minutes a week, for example, with your student, and you give them a lot of home tasks a lot of tasks to complete on their own. And then you just check it very quickly with some, maybe the most difficult, the most challenging parts of it. And also another point is you can get them together in the same group and have like one group session a week for 10 people, for example, where you discuss the most challenging parts of self-study content. This is how it works, because frankly speaking, I don't believe in 100% like self-learning. I mean, without a guide, without a mentor, it's very difficult in terms of psychology, you know, like just psychological, it's very difficult because you don't have any mentor who would support you. Emotionally, it's also very difficult. You really feel lonely. You need somebody to lean on, and you need somebody who would say, good job, you are amazing, I'm here with you, let's do it together. Yeah, so that's why, yeah, this micro learning, and it's trending, by the way. Now I see it here and there in different teacher communities that some teachers, they don't have time anymore to spend like 90 minutes or 60 minutes teaching. That's why they choose this small lessons approach, where they teach only 15 or 10 minutes with, where they spend 10 minutes with their students, and they just give feedback with the most challenging parts of the lessons.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you, Josephine. Please, Koti, yeah.
Maybe I, as a student, maybe I want to know my development, where I should end my study. Not, it helps me to know I'm making some steps.
Yes,
where
my progress.
Yes, my progress. So maybe that's, when you have apps, you have many like maps. Where are you? And you know, advance,
yeah,
where you are going to. Maybe that helps too.
Yes, yeah. You know, when I read this question, first three things that came to my mind are, number one, a goal. So I can't actually learn something, even with a teacher, if I don't have a goal in the end that I want to achieve. Second thing is, I go back to consistency. I think consistency is the key to learn anything. You have to continue doing the learning, even if you do it for a short time every day or every other day, but you have to be consistent. And third thing is related to what Katrina said. You have to have people who inspire you. If you don't have a teacher, then at least you can have someone who inspires you to continue, someone you look up to, someone who reached what you want to reach, and you want to do what he or she did. And I'm actually been learning Russian for quite some time now, and I try to have these three things help me. I have a goal that I want to speak without problems. I speak Russian without a lot of hesitation, and well, for now, actually, just to speak. And consistency. I've been doing it. I don't think I have long stops, but I normally try to do something every day, every week. I do some reading, studying, and I always people who speak many languages always inspire me. So I always, when I just feel frustrated, and I felt frustrated many times, but every time I can watch YouTube videos for people who speak many languages, and this inspires me to learn and to continue. So that's highly important, I guess. Before I move on, and the next question I think is very related, continuing professional development. Does anyone would like to share something? Okay, continuing professional development, to continue. This is, of course, is very important. And I have also something to say here. There are some things that came to my mind, but I would like to hear you first.
That's why we're all here, right? That's why we're all here.
Yeah.
We are already
interested
in professional development. But also, what else can you do? I think it's a common thing for all professions right now. Lifelong learning. People are more into it. It's not that you get a degree at a university and then you're done. You just work for the rest of your life. It's not working anymore. You can't do that. So yeah. Ekaterina has something to say.
Please.
Yeah, well, for me, the best source of professional and personal development has always been taking up these challenges. Like anything that challenges you, do not try to run away from it. Take it, enjoy it, and work with it. The stronger the challenge is, the better it is for you. That's it. Just, you should go where you feel the most with the fear, and you should face your fear. The fear of management, or like the fear of failure, the fear of, I don't know, like bad communications or whatever, speaking a foreign language, public speaking. trying to sell something to someone, do it. You will see it's not that scary as you thought. That's it.
Yeah, face your fear. That's a brilliant piece of advice. Thank you. Okay, Natalia, would you like to share?
I think that professional development also might be a self-regulated activity, as Kate mentioned, setting challenges to yourself, planning how to achieve the goal, monitoring your progress. Yeah, so kind of related to self-regulated activity, because it's the goal we set for ourselves to grow professionally.
Yeah, thank you. Larissa, would you like to share something? Continuing professional development.
Participate in mastermind of and use Osama's masterminds.
Thank you.
I think joining teachers groups, communities is really important, because you can see from your colleagues what kind of topics they are discussing, what kind of things you might have missed or might be missing right now.
Yeah.
People bring fresh ideas, new things, and they share a lot in these communities. And this is how you can learn where you can develop and grow as a professional. So that's a great thing. And maybe attend conferences. There are a lot of online conferences right now, even free ones, like you don't have to pay for them. Just keep your eyes open for these things, and this is where you can learn of interesting things.
Yeah. Mary, did anything come to your mind here that you'd like to share?
I'm still, just like maybe it's very like old school approach, but I'm still thinking of like developing my career as a teacher trainer, and I was invited to a couple of interviews for getting a Delta preparation course. I think it's kind of quite a consequent, let's say, stage of career that you just eventually get Delta. So I know that a lot of people say that, I think experience is much more important, and why do you need this like formal course of Cambridge Center? But it's not the matter of like prestigious or let's say certificates or things like that, but you can also objectively look at your technique and so get some insights from Delta tutors. So I think it's still beneficial thing. It's still kind of, it's still, even now, I'm not sure how it is, by the way, taught in the era of e-learning, because I know that not all, by the way, Cambridge centers adapted to like e-learning, and they still kind of like rely on old techniques. It depends, but I guess, yeah. I guess you just need to ask at the interview how you guys like teach this course. Do you really take into consideration and take into account all these recent changes? Because it still should be done, in my opinion. So yeah. I guess depends on the Cambridge Center, but still I'm really thinking it over. Just like, I guess in August I will take some 2 weeks of training if it will be possible. Yeah. So I guess
I'm glad that you talked about certification, because I thought actually about two things here: that continuing professional development in terms of certification and also in terms of experience. So I don't have much to say about certification. I think Delta is a good choice. I did my CELTA about 5-6 years ago, and I thought I'll do the Delta after a short time, but I don't have any plans now to do it. I think maybe I have a little bit different opinion. I think experience is more important, but certification also teaches you a lot of things and gives you a lot of ideas to enrich your experience. But I would like to talk about the experience or the practice. One of the things I've been thinking about last 2 weeks is practice, and I created actually 2 lessons about this because I wanted to discuss with other teachers. I created English for Teachers lesson because I wanted to discuss this with other teachers, and I created a speaking club because I wanted to, and I use it in 3 speaking clubs that I teach practice, importance of practice. And one of the things I've been thinking about is to zoom in to your mistakes and try to solve them, and then zoom out again. So this is one of the things I'm trying to do, and I think this is very effective to, to look at, perfect. One of the things that is repeated in the in that is discussed in the lesson and repeated is perfect practice makes perfect. Not just practice, but perfect practice. In other words, doing things right. And this can be done with the help of a teacher or a mentor or something, or it can also be done, when you zoom into your mistakes and try to solve them. And I've tried to do that recently, and it really worked. I haven't trained myself on doing that, on paying attention to the small details and fixing them, and then zooming out and seeing how things go. So this, I think, can help you do things better. For example, if I am not very good in, I don't know, teaching a specific thing, or doing or handling this very small thing in the I know that there's something in the lesson that I don't know really well, so I train myself. I try to focus on this small part and train myself on doing it well, and then when I do it, I search for something else that I can work on. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about recently. So yeah. Let's move on. How to create lessons using Amazy. I'll hand it over to Polina.
Well, basically, I will just add a link to our YouTube video with the guidelines and stuff like that. But also, I think maybe, because we all probably have created lessons on Amazy here, maybe each of us has some maybe tips or tricks, or your own unique approach to doing that we could share. Specifically from the technological side, maybe from how exactly you use different tools to do that. For example, I always use checklist for objectives. I also use checklist for, where the task does not require a correct answer, but where I want to learn my students' ideas. So choose which topics you agree with, and there are several expressions. So choose which things are important to you, and there are a lot of things, and then you can use it for that. So no correct answer, just choose out of the list. Things like that, and maybe we can share some tips this week.
Yeah. Thank you, Polina. Yeah, that's a good idea. Who has tips to share about creating lessons? Something that you think will be helpful for everyone to create better lessons.
Yeah, I want to share one tip,
Katrina?
because at the very beginning of this mastermind, we were talking about gamification, and actually one of my favorite kind of games for teaching is role plays. I love it, absolutely, for offline, for online, for any kind of teaching approach. And in terms of using Amazy and having Amazy interactivity blended together with role plays, I think spoiler can be used as a very interesting tool to use role plays at the lessons. So for example, you can give certain roles to your students when it comes to group teaching, right? Or even if it's an individual lesson, you can give your student a role, and then by using spoilers, you can add some particular details later on when they start speaking. Like, for example, you have a student and her role is like, she's a mafia boss, right? The second student is her best trusted man in the band. So later on, when they speak, you just say, okay, now here is going to be a new turn of this conversation. Please click spoilers. And they click a spoiler and they see a completely new detail of a situation or of a problem or of a character. And that can be quite refreshing for the dialogue, especially when it comes to dialogues of two people, because sometimes your students can be confused of what to say, and they can be out of ideas. So these new turns, so to say, will bring some new emotions to your classroom.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Katrina. Yes, Felina, please.
I thought of a really interesting thing because of what Kate said that got me thinking about using spoilers as well for text quests. So it's like you have the first situation, and then a student has to choose what they do next. And so they either go to sentence 2 or sentence 3, for example. Everything is hidden behind a spoiler. For example, you can have 50 different, sentences numbered, all hidden in a spoiler, and then students go from like number 1 to number 20, from number 20 to number 30, and then in the end they will have like 5 different outcomes to that. I should do that with ChatGPT, definitely.
Yes, exactly. I think spoiler is underestimated and people don't use it that often. I mean, it's one of the most powerful tools of Amazy that it hasn't been really like, blossomed and hasn't been used enough, I think.
Yeah.
Not everybody knows this is what a spoiler is, and in student view, this is what it looks like. This is a spoiler.
Okay, any other tips? Mary, would you like to share some tips on creating lessons using Amazy?
Well, I guess I think that I'm guys working on this like from text to speech online tools. So I'm thinking over just like what kind of like applications could be like free and user friendly. So I guess you just think of like first of all the goals of the lesson, and depending on or what are the goals of the lesson, whether it is like lesson or for just training listening skills, for training writing skills. For example, if the target of the lesson is to develop some kind of like business lettering, of course it can be really great to use Miro, because let's say we have a problem, we need to write some kind of like letter to an angry customer, let's imagine. So we have the task for the students to respond back to some kind of like angry letter. And so, and they need working on Miro to, let's say, create the most, let's say, polite answers, and still kind of like trying to let's say restore maybe this kind of like disrupted relationship with the customer. And so we work with like tentative language, and we work with modals, and we work to, and then for example one student can let's say kind of like enhance certain structures of another student, or slightly modifying it. For example, if we work with our grammar at the same time, and we learn some passive structures which are more formal, students can, for example, transform these sentences into something like more polite, less personal, and things like that. So I think depending on the goal of the lesson, we figure out what tools to use, and we can attach this Miro board to our like link section. So it works pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Mary. That's pretty insightful. Depending on the purpose or the goal of the lesson, you can choose. Thank you. Natalia, have you created lessons on Amazy?
No, I'm novice here, so I'm just listening with all ears. So, no, sorry.
Warmest welcome.
Yeah, I hope you create brilliant lessons, and once you start creating, it will be really interesting and enjoyable, but it will be just very time consuming. But I'm sure that you will enjoy it.
Yeah, but I believe that will be rewarding both for me and my students. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, Larissa. Any tips about creating lessons?
Larissa is thinking now to bother her Spanish-speaking friends from America Latina to record with them dialogues, because now I can't share dialogues from my students' book to Amazy. With the GPT chat, I'm not very friendly still. I just, in theory, I understand how to do it, but I didn't do still nothing there. So, and I'm thinking to bother some of them to record dialogues, and it will be my author classes.
Yeah, great.
Your original materials, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
with natives.
So maybe one, I don't have any tips to share, to be honest here. Maybe one thing I can say is, if you're really interested in the lesson that you're creating, then you will make something very interesting. So if you're interested, you will be interesting. I believe that if you're really interested in what you're doing, it will automatically be interesting to others. So if you, I have a lot of ideas for lessons, but I only start creating the lesson when I feel like doing so. So when I feel like I want to discuss this idea this week, I want to have a discussion with my students about that specific. So this is why automatically the teacher, the lesson is interesting, hopefully interesting for them. So that's one thing I can say. If I'm not very interested in the topic, I have many lessons that I gathered all the resources I need. I have all the questions, but I haven't actually created them because I'm still not feeling like doing so. So whenever I'm very interested, I just do it and it automatically becomes interesting. Belina, please.
Just one thing. One thing that I've used recently and that I haven't seen anybody else do, doesn't mean that nobody else has ever done it, but I just never saw anybody do it. It was using matching gaps for ordering dialogues. So you generate a dialogue in ChatGPT or Twee, and then you paste it here, and then you send all the lines to the gap, and then the student has to order the dialogue. Just one way of using matching gaps that I have never seen anybody else use. You're welcome.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Yeah, very interesting. This is actually one of the things that I don't think is done. I've ever seen an Amazy, that you match the gap, match the dialogue, and reorder the dialogue to the correct order. Yeah, so you can use matching gaps for that. Definitely. Thank you all. I have nothing more to share. Would anyone like to share?
I think we can finish at this point. Thank you very much, Osama, for sharing your experience and expertise with us, and for making this very interesting mastermind. And thank you everybody for joining today and also sharing your ideas.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for attending. I hope this was interesting and beneficial. Hopefully it was definitely interesting and beneficial to me. And
Osama, thank you so much. Your every mastermind is better than the previous one. You're really improving as a mastermind host. Like really, you are amazing. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. I'm trying to improve. Yeah, like I said, I tried to zoom in and see what I did wrong. I still need to fix a lot of things, but hopefully, yeah, this one hopefully was better than the previous one that I did. Okay. Thanks, Ekaterina. Thanks, everyone. Michael, Koti, everyone. Mary, Natalia, Larissa.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing some tools. I will also use it at my lessons. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, hope to see everybody next month in our next mastermind. Okay,
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.